Hello, how are you? And welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about something special. Something different from true crime. Something paranormal. Today, we're going to talk about Annelise Michel. Now, if you don't recognize that name, she was one to be deemed possessed. I don't know if you've ever heard this story or not, so I'm going to tell you today. And even if you have, stick around. I would like to talk about Annelise Michel because I find the story intriguing, and I believe in this type of thing because I've had experience with paranormal stuff in the past. Now, whether or not you believe in this type of phenomenon, that's up to you to interpret. I'm ready to dive into this, so I'd like you all to listen, and I hope you enjoy. Today we are going to talk about the exorcism of Annelise. Michel was born on September 21st, 1952, in Leibelfing, Bavaria, West Germany, to a Roman Catholic family. Michel was raised along three sisters by her parents, Joseph and Anna. She was religious and attended Mass twice a week. When she was 16, she experienced a severe convulsion, and she was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy. During her time in school, her classmates described her as withdrawn and very religious. During the month of June in the year 1970, she would be prescribed anti-convulsion drugs for the first time. But it wouldn't seem to fix anything, as she would see devil faces at various times of the day. In the same month, she would also be prescribed Aiola, which is used in treatments of various psychosis, like schizophrenia, and disturbed behaviors and delusions. By 1973, Michel would experience depression and hallucinations while praying. And she would also complain about hearing voices. These voices would tell her that she was damned and that she would rot in hell. As you could imagine, she was placed in a psychiatric hospital by this time. But the hospital did not improve her health or alleviate her depression in any way. In fact, she just got a whole lot worse. The long-term treatment did not help, which caused her to be more and more frustrated with her medical care. Michel had been taking these pharmacological drugs for 5 years at this point, and she would become intolerant of Christian sacred places and objects, such as the crucifix. Michel ended up visiting San Damiano with a family friend who regularly organized Christian pilgrimages. Her escort concluded that she was suffering from a demonic possession. She wasn't able to walk past a crucifix, and she refused to drink water from a Christian holy spring. Also, Michel's family and the community became convinced she was possessed and consulted several priests to request an exorcism, but the priest declined and recommended the continuation of medical treatment and informed the family that exorcisms require the bishop's permission. Michel would worsen physically and display aggression, injuring herself. And she would drink her own urine and eat insects. She would also grow an immense hatred for anyone or anything religious. In November of 1973, Michel would begin treatment with Tegretol, an anti-seizure drug and mood stabilizer. But despite all efforts, her symptoms just worsened and worsened, and she would begin growling while claiming to see demons, and she would also violently throw things around the room. A priest by the name of Father Ernst Alt declared that Michel did not look like an epileptic, and he did not observe her experiencing seizures. Father Alt believed that she was suffering from a demonic possession and urged the local bishop to carry out an exorcism, which he then approved. In a letter to Alt, Michel would go on to write this: "I am nothing. Everything about me is vanity. What should I do? I have to improve. You pray for me? And also once told him, I want to suffer for other people. But this is so cruel. In September of 1975, Bishop Joseph Stangl granted Father Arnold Rentz permission to perform an exorcism. Rentz would go on to perform the first session on the 24th of September in 1975.
Der Ausklingen verstellen nach nichts, dem ist das Geld zu schade für.
Dann kostet er was.
Bei dem schon. Gut Zeit oder auch Geld für.
Ach so, die Arbeit.
Ja, die Arbeit geht natürlich vor. Die Drecksau, die Bäden, ja, das kann ihnen noch ihr Glück sein. Aber das Ding, das gäbe es auch immer in die Drecksau, das haben die hineingepflanzt.
Du meinst die Heilige Kommunion?
Ja, ja.
Her parents stopped consulting doctors at her request and relied solely on the exorcism rites. A total of 67 exorcism sessions at twice a week and up to 4 hours each day were performed for 10 months from 1975 to 1976. Towards the end of her life, Michel would refuse food, and on July 1st, 1976, Michel would die in her home. The autopsy reported her death to be a combination of malnutrition and dehydration, resulting from an entire year of being in a state of starvation. Also at the time of her death, she weighed 66 pounds and suffered from broken knees caused by continuous genuflections. Now, in case you didn't know, genuflections is the act of bending your knees, like if you were to pray. Eventually, she was unable to move, and on top of everything else, she contracted pneumonia. In 1976, the state charged Michel's parents and priest Ernst Ahl and Arnold Rentz with negligent homicide. The state recommended that none of them were to be jailed. However, the priest would be fined. And as for the parents, well, they figured they suffered enough. If you would like to look up this story, you can find it online. There's a whole trial to this that I didn't dive into deeply, but that being said, it's pretty much just going over whether or not she was actually possessed. But like I said, that's up for you to interpret. I believe what I believe. So yeah. Do you think she was or was not possessed? Let me know what you think down in the comments. That being said, it's an interesting story. And it makes you think, like, if she wasn't possessed, what else could it have been to have caused a reaction like this? Okay guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one.